Hey, I want to take just a little time to recognize someone who's unfortunately left us. JT Larson goes by Jeannie Depp online. You probably know her from the change.org petition that she put together demanding that Amber Heard be fired from Aquaman 2. This petition reached over 4 million signatures, and it was huge, and it was widely reported in various media outlets, and it became a real sort of rallying point early on in this situation, in this media and legal battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. This petition early on became a kind of a rallying point for those people who believed that Johnny Depp was innocent. And I don't know when she started the petition. I looked at her Twitter page, and it looks like she started it in 2020. So again, that was before the UK trial. That was before this was on most people's radar. And she was definitely one of the early ones to stand up for Johnny and to see the truth on this. And then, but that change.org petition, that thing took off. It was huge. And I have to say, I said this on Twitter earlier, and I mean it. That was one of the best PR stunts, PR tactics that I have ever seen. Kudos to that. That's something that was more successful than something that any really, pricey PR company that Shane Communications could put together. All right. So kudos to her for that and for what it came to mean to a lot of people. Like I said, a real rallying point and a real also a kind of a banner for everyone to rally under, right? Like, see, look, we've got this petition and all of these people hate Amber Heard. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've said it before. I am not in favor of canceling people. And quite frankly, I'm not even in favor of, under normal circumstances, of Amber Heard being canceled. I mean, I'd like for people's art, if we can call what she does art, to be separate from their personal lives. But the fact that she went to such lengths to destroy a good man, to try to destroy a good man, and then got him canceled, the fact that he was canceled, then to me, that makes it okay then to demand the same for Amber. But that's not what I think the genius of that petition was, or why it was successful. I think that why it was successful is because whatever you think of her being in Aquaman 2 or not, or being fired or not, it was a very clear and simple way for a lot of people to demonstrate how much they disliked Amber Heard and how pissed off they were about what had happened to Johnny Depp and about his cancellation, right? Okay, if you're going to cancel him in all these ways, then why is this woman still in Aquaman? We have her on recorded tape, audio of her not only admitting to abusing this man and to hitting him, but also berating him for being weak and running away, right? A terrible human being. And that petition drew so much attention to it. It drew so much media attention. It was such a rallying point for people. And, the thing is, I know that there are all kinds of petitions that people start all the time for all kinds of things. But that one was successful on a scale that I'm not sure I've ever seen. Certainly one of the most successful petitions ever. And you have to ask yourself why. Well, it was partly because there were people who were pissed about the situation and pissed at Amber Heard. But it was also because JT Larson, Jeannie Depp, she was astute enough to see early on, before a lot of other people did, what a big story this was, and that it needed to get proper representation in the media, and that one of the best ways to do that is to give people this rallying point to share their feelings about this situation. And she she did a really pretty cool underground kind of media campaign for it, and she was tweeting a lot and all of that, and the write-up that she did for it is just excellent. And so I just want to say that, the idea was excellent, the way that she handled it, the way that she promoted it. And she has been for years, like I said, one of the early ones to this thing, and had been just promoting Johnny Depp's innocence tirelessly through the trial, and even up to, I just looked at her Twitter, even just a few days ago. And so hats off to you, ma'am. And, all the things that people say, may you rest in peace. I have different thoughts about death and the afterlife and all those things, but hats off to you. And And yeah, and I think that we should just be very grateful that we have a number of people in the community, in the Johnny Depp defender community, who were early to this thing, and certainly were a lot earlier to it than I was, and early on sort of took up the sword, so to speak, metaphorically, of this, and decided to go into battle for Johnny Depp. And damn, if that petition was not one of the most effective tactics I've ever seen, hats off to you. And it didn't take a fancy Shane Communications to come up with that. And I also want to say that JT Larson, or Jeannie Depp, was a really good writer. So I happened to be bored one night, and I was looking, at different people in the Depp community, different people's Twitter pages, and I looked at hers, and I noticed that she had a website that it connected to. And so I clicked on it, and the website it's still up, right? So if you go to her Twitter page and you click on the website, you can see this. But there was a blog, and there was all this other stuff. But I saw that she was an author, and that she had actually written books, and she's written a number of books. And you know what I think when I see that someone has written something, and this is just the unfortunate English professor snob in me coming out. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And let's see how great this writing is. Lots of people out there think that they're good writers, right? You hear people saying like, oh, I don't know why I can't break into the publishing industry, right? Or get a publisher, and then you read their work, and you're like, well, I can see why. I'm talking in particular about a friend of mine from several years ago, but who had me read a fictional novel that they were not able to get published. And I'm like, well, I don't think there's a reason. But so I'm very skeptical. And I looked at her writing. She had at that point, I don't know if she still has it up, a sample of her writing. I think it was a sample of her erotic novel that she had written, an erotic novel. And I thought, oh, here we go. And I started reading it, and I thought it was beautifully written. And I didn't read much of it just because I didn't have time, right? But I remember thinking, wow, I need to tell her that this is well written, that coming from a former English professor, and that she needs to continue with this. And you know how life is. We have these plans, or we have these inspirations, and we often don't follow through on them, although we should, because those are the aspects of life, those inspirations, that actually make it the most meaningful and the most extraordinary. And those are the affirmations that lift people up. So we should take advantage of them more. And I wish that I had taken the time to tell her that, because now she's gone and I can't do that. But what I can do for all of you, or to all of you, is say that there was a lot more to this woman than just her Johnny Depp activism, as extraordinary and effective as that was. And so I encourage you to go to her page, check out her writing, and she's left the world too soon, unfortunately. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.